He leaned back in his chair, crossed his arms, and said, "That's not true." The room went quiet. Not because the facts were wrong, but because something else had just been challenged. It wasn't the argument that felt threatened. It was identity. Most arguments are not about truth. They are about identity survival. You see this online every day. A comment section turns into a battlefield. Someone posts an opinion. Someone else replies, "You're wrong." Within minutes, the tone shifts. The debate is no longer about ideas. It becomes about status. About intelligence. About moral positioning. And once identity enters the room, logic leaves. Dale Carnegie warned us to avoid arguments. He advised us never to say, "You're wrong." In his time, that was practical wisdom. In 2026, it is psychological necessity. Because today, disagreement is public. It is archived. It is performative. And when you correct someone in public, you are not just challenging their idea. You are threatening their place in the hierarchy. That threat activates something ancient. When identity feels attacked, the brain does not ask, "Is this accurate?" It asks, "Am I safe?" Status threat activates the same defensive circuitry as physical threat. The body tightens. The voice hardens. The mind searches for counterattack. And here is the uncomfortable part. You have done this too. You were not defending the idea. You were defending who you believed yourself to be. In a family discussion, it sounds softer, but it works the same way. A parent questions your life choice. A sibling dismisses your opinion. The argument escalates. Words sharpen. The past resurfaces. Old roles reappear. The responsible one. The rebellious one. The favorite. The disappointment. Now it is no longer about the topic. It is about identity. Most people think arguments escalate because of disagreement. They escalate because disagreement feels like disrespect. And disrespect feels like erasure. That is the hidden cost of saying, "You're wrong." It converts a difference of perspective into a threat of self. Carnegie understood this intuitively. He advised respect, not because he feared conflict, but because he understood pride. What he could not foresee was a world where every disagreement is amplified by algorithms that reward certainty. Social platforms do not reward nuance. They reward clarity and conviction. The stronger the stance, the stronger the signal. But conviction is not the same as understanding. In fact, the need to be right often signals insecurity, not strength. There is a moment in every argument where the shift happens. It is subtle. You feel heat in your chest. You stop listening. You prepare your next sentence instead of hearing theirs. Your tone becomes firmer. Your posture changes. You are no longer curious. You are guarding territory. That territory is not the idea. It is identity. Here is the perspective flip. Winning the argument may protect your ego, but it weakens your influence. Influence requires psychological safety. Ego warfare destroys it. When you tell someone they are wrong, especially directly, you corner them. And when people feel cornered, they defend. Not because they love the idea, but because they need to preserve self-coherence. Admitting error publicly can feel like lowering status. So they resist. Even if part of them knows you are correct. This is why logic rarely wins arguments. Because logic addresses ideas. Identity defends self. In Buddhist psychology, clinging to views is considered a subtle form of suffering. Not because views are wrong, but because attachment fuses the view with the self. When the view is attacked, the self feels attacked. The tighter the attachment, the stronger the reaction. The suffering does not come from disagreement. It comes from identification. That does not mean you avoid disagreement. It means you separate identity from perspective. There is a difference between saying, that idea may not work, and saying, you're wrong. The first leaves room for dignity. The second threatens it. And dignity is the currency of influence. You can win the argument. And still lose the relationship. You can prove the point. And still weaken trust. You can be correct. And still be ineffective. Here is the deeper clarity. Most arguments are status negotiations disguised as conversations. Once you see that, everything changes. Instead of asking, how do I win this? You begin to ask, how do I preserve mutual respect? You stop attacking identity. You start examining assumptions. You replace correction with curiosity. That shift does not mean surrender. It means strategy. Real influence does not come from overpowering identity. It comes from protecting it. The paradox is simple. When people feel respected, they relax. When they relax, they listen. When they listen, change becomes possible. Without respect, change becomes impossible. So the next time you feel the urge to say, you're wrong, pause. Not to suppress your view, but to examine your motive. Are you seeking clarity, or are you defending identity? The difference is subtle. But it changes everything. And if clinging to being right creates suffering, what would happen if you loosened your grip, just slightly, and chose influence over ego?